Until the two men from the Army knock on your door, you don't think it can happen to you. But you open the door, and they're there, and you know what they're there for. They're either going to tell you your husband's been hurt so badly that he'll never be home, or that he's been killed. You're only wondering which one of those things they're going to tell you. Yes, my love, yes.
Now, the American adventure, the people and events shaping our lives and our times now. This week, Missing in Randolph.
When Bill was killed, I think the whole community went into shock. Because he was a friend to everyone. And so even people he knew slightly felt like they'd lost one of their best friends.
Rosemary Hillard was told she was a war widow 1 year ago. Her husband Bill was only 21 at the time he was killed, yet already he was regarded as an active citizen, a planner in the town of Randolph, New York, where he and Rosemary grew up. Now, Rosemary must learn to make her own plans, and she looks to Bill's life for guidance, especially to the time he served in India in the Peace Corps, when he too felt painfully alone.
I don't know all of what he went through in the Peace Corps. I know that he was lonely because he was only 18 years old when he was sent over to India, and he lived alone. He didn't speak much of the language. He went over with the idea that he could change everything and make their life all better in a few years. And when he found out it didn't work, he was disappointed. He felt very much that he was a failure. Deep down, I don't think he wanted to change them that much. because they were so happy the way they were living. One of the Indians painted a portrait of him, and he wrote me that Bill was the first, so to speak, white man he'd ever met. And he was so wonderful. He was just like them. He made him realize that people aren't any different. I know because I've written always to the friends that he made there, and they thought so highly of him that he must have been a success to make those kind of friends. I've read the diary that he kept when he was in India. It's full of how he felt because he wrote down just what he did feel every day. He wrote to himself, "I think I understand why you are resigning. It's because you just are not the right person for the job here." Is that it? I know it's been a lot of long and discouraging days, but has it been that bad? Whatever it is, the fact remains that you are leaving. I hope you're making the right decision. I wish you the best of luck. Sincerely, your conscience. I'm leaving for India in a week to visit the friends that Bill made there because he was so impressed by them with their friendliness. It's just something that I want to find out. I want to see it for myself.
Rosemary is not the only person who, as a result of Bill's death, decided to go to Asia. Don Dexter, Bill's childhood friend, hurt by the news, volunteered for Vietnam.
But I had never thought there was any chance of him being killed. But when he started writing me, telling me what he was doing in the field, I had my doubts as to whether I knew what could possibly happen. And it did.
Now, after 10 months in Vietnam, Don no longer seeks vengeance.
Well, I'm tired of the war and tired of all this killing. And from what I see, I've been over here 10 months, and I can see that the war is only a means to an end. This is what I feel right now, that war will not accomplish what has to be done.
At Bill's funeral, that's all I could think about.
Don's wife, Carolyn, is a friend to Rosemary. Divided politically, these servicemen's wives agree on one point. Most of America is callously unconcerned with weekly tolls of war casualties. Lorraine Bentley's husband has been seriously wounded in Vietnam.
If Don was ever killed over there, I think I'd move out of the country. I'd resent so much. I mean, I resent the war now.
That's the first impulse is to run away.
And another thing, I'm not saying anything about Bill's posthumous awards, but if Don was killed and they ever tried to give me posthumous awards, I'm afraid I would spit on them.
You're talking about your reaction. My first reaction when Jim was wounded, I wrote a letter to Dorothy and to the editor of the paper, beating the drums for a little patriotism. That was my first reaction. I stayed up all night and wrote that letter. It was probably 50 words or something, but I said, where are the people that care? This was my question. Where are the people that care? Let's get over there, let's do it, let's get home again.
It's impossible. You can't get over there and do it and get home. You've got to get out.
Well, yeah, but if we get out, where are we going to be?
If we stay there, where are we going to be? We're going to waste 40,000 more lives for nothing.
The first letter I got from Jim, he writes, as more and more GIs die over here, maybe people will wake up to the fact we aren't playing games. To us guys who've been out there, we know that the VC and NBA know what they're doing. If it wasn't for the helicopters and the air power, we would be defeated over here. One more thing I want to say about Bill. Bill drove a trash truck. He didn't feel he was doing enough over here, so he asked for the line platoon. I told him he wouldn't like it out there, but every man has a mind of his own. I'm very proud that I knew Bill. He was a real man. He's a great guy. He was a real American soldier. There's no greater man than an American soldier who dies for his country. So that America can be what it is today, free. I know you don't subscribe to that, but...
No, because Bill didn't subscribe to that either.
Jim's not #1 Army, but he's #1 American in this definition of American, which is...
You can love your country without wanting to kill for your country.
I don't agree with that. I'm not saying
And
that.
without wanting to risk your life for your country.
And Don feels that he's patriotic too, but you can carry it only to a certain extent. He feels it's a waste. We're over there trying to save face, and you can't justify killing 40,000 men trying to save face, and that's exactly what we're doing.
No, you don't subscribe to the domino theory, you see.
Well, I got a letter here from Don, and this is right after he heard. I had to send him a telegram because I couldn't get a hold of him no other way. He says, I can't tell you how heartbroken I am right now. Bill was my closest and dearest friend, and now he is dead. When I got the message over the telephone tonight, I just couldn't believe it. I want to cry, but upon hearing the news, it only made me mad, and vengeance is what came upon my mind first. Right now, the feeling I have is to do what they have trained me to do for the past 5.5 months, and that is to kill, kill, kill.
It kills a little part of themselves every time they lose a friend.
The only potential they have is to kill. That's the only direction that they can put their abilities to, you know. And all they think about is coming home. And then again, all these young men have the draft to look forward to. And again, you don't realize their potential because they have the draft ahead of them, they have Vietnam ahead of them. So what can they do now? They just kind of have to wait around. Their talents are being wasted.
The register office.
Bill's mother is a leading citizen in Randolph, population 2,500. She is the editor of the local newspaper. Dorothy Hillard brought her 2 children to her hometown when she and her husband, an Army major, separated. Bill was 11, but even at that early age, he expressed a wish to spend his life as a farmer in this agricultural community, a fact that never ceased to mystify his mother.
I think because it gave him roots. See, we were an Army family, and we had lived here, there, and everywhere, and coming to Randolph gave him roots. None of our family were farmers. He came that first summer. He went up to help hay with my nephew, and he loved it. And some of it, I think, was praise because they said he did so well and he was as good help as a man. And I really can't explain it. It seemed to be something that if you saw him in a cow barn or saw him on a farm, he just looked right. You know what I mean? It would just seem to fit. And he always looked so natural in his farm clothes, his cap on the back of his head and his blonde curls out the front, smelling the high heaven of manure, which you'll find when you go in a cow barn. It just seemed to be something he liked. He used to call me up and ask me to come down to Dale's barn, and Dale wasn't there, and I'd sit on a milking stool because he liked somebody to talk to. And I used to like to go because there's something very peaceful about a cow barn. You understand a little about how a farmer feels when you sit like that. Well, I guess I'd have to say he was an enchanting little boy because he was all boy, but I suspect that every mother in the world thinks that. But the pictures of him were. There's one here at his birthday party. He was a delightful child because he loved living, so I guess this is what I feel bad about. He wanted to be free. He was a person you could never tie. If you're subject to the draft, you're not free. But if you're in Bill's position, see, the Peace Corps was a deferment. But this was gone when he came back from the Peace Corps. But the day he told me that he was going to enlist, he said, this is the one thing I am afraid of. I do not think I could kill anyone. And I, being an Army wife, said you will have to be realistic about this. If you are going in the Army, you will be trained for this, and the occasion may arise. Well, he'd deal with that when the time came. But one of the letters that he wrote me after he went into training, and I guess it shocked even me, and he was shocked when he wrote the letter, was going into their training, and written on the blackboard was kill, kill, kill. And the entire class, this was in their basic training, was told to stand there and shout this over and over and over. And this shocked Bill, and I must say it shocked me. And yet I know that if you are going to be a soldier, if you're going to stay alive, this is the paradox of war. That I'm not bitter about it. I mean, he loved his country, and so do I. I found my own answer to it, I guess, when I had to explain it to some of his young friends who were really very bitter about it and against the Vietnam War. And I said, I think all you can say or feel, I mean, is the countries make mistakes the same as people. I think this war is a mistake. But that doesn't, to me, negate what Bill has done. I think all wars are probably a mistake, really. I mean, you don't read after this happened with us, I don't think I've ever read the papers the same. They are numbers. Anytime now when I read 8, 20, 23, 100, that's, well, it's meant that many people like Bill. I mean, he is just one person. All these other people had dreams, had things they wanted to do. He isn't that different. Just to me, and to us, and to his friends, and to this community. But I mean, this is the same everywhere. And then I always think, all those families.
Though Bill's parents were separated, retired Army Major William Hillard remained close to his children.
As a young boy, he was always very much interested in military things. As he got older, I don't think he had this interest. I have a feeling that he felt initially when he went to the Peace Corps that this might discharge his duty to society as he understood it. When his feeling failed, then his obligation to the country came back again, and he felt that it was necessary for him to go into the service. The initial telegram said just about as much as we ever really did get, but I didn't think it was enough. And some of those letters, he called it, they said they'd call him a tunnel rat, meaning that and I think this is one reason why he felt that he was qualified for that kind of work. He was relatively small and pretty strong. And a tunnel rat has to go down into the tunnels and dig through. But from the description, they were destroying booby traps and removing duds. He stepped on an M16 bouncing Betty mine, which caused him to fall into a pressure detonated mine. And the force of the explosion threw him into a barbed wire fence. It said he was instantly killed from the blast, and that there were other people involved in the action as well. I don't think of the Vietnam War as a cause, and I don't think he did. I think he thought of it as a lousy duty assignment.
Rural towns such as Randolph lose most of their brightest young to the cities. Since Bill was one who planned to stay and farm, the impact of his death is widely felt. Dale Anderson, one of many farmers Bill worked for, expresses this prevailing sense of loss.
No, I was quite set up when I found out Bill had been killed. One of the last things I told him before he left to go to Vietnam was, when they ask for anybody to volunteer for some of this hero bits, just keep your hands in your pockets, pretend you didn't hear them, let somebody else do that job. Now, I'm not entirely familiar with the circumstances that he was killed under, but I understand he was on a volunteer on a patrol. He could have gotten out of it. In other words, the poor boy didn't listen to what I had to say. It's a blow to the whole community. I think Bill always would have liked to work into a partnership or some situation where he and I, for instance, could have worked together on a farming situation. And there's a lot to be said for a partnership where two people can get along without any big squabbles and share the work equally and so forth.
On a strictly human level, Bill is missed by widow Lydia Keith.
Most wonderful boy, very unusual. Ambitious, working all the time. And when he wasn't busy, he was hunting for something else to do to help somebody else out. He took a trip to Florida once. When he came back, he came over to the house with his hands behind him, walked in, he said, "Brought you a present." And it was a Cocker Spaniel dog that he picked up down there because he knew I liked dogs and he liked them too. I don't like it. Taking our boys like that. And Billy, well, you're just 21. 21 the 1st of March, was killed on the 17th. Go over there and give his life like that without having a chance. The war is probably all right, and I hope they make out all right, but it hurts when it takes someone like that away from you.
Being away, he was kind of an extra man around the house to kind of help out here.
To complete his agricultural assignments for high school, Bill took a live-in job with Dick and Jean Frame during his senior year.
Which wasn't a lot of money, and we almost had to argue with him to take that.
Well, you have to say to yourself, well, why Bill? Because you knew him and thought a great deal of him. And when you consider, what it does for me is I think to myself, because he didn't go to college, he had to go to war.
When you lose somebody like this, you have to say, geez, I didn't give 100%.
No, I don't think it's worth it, all of these young fellows' lives.
Anson and Millie Seeger express a view commonly held in this area.
I don't think they should be over that. Unless they're going to get at it long ago, 20 years ago in Lincoln. They're just killing a lot of young fellows and they ain't getting anywhere, I don't think.
He used to call me Ma all the time. All the kids. See, this is vacation time, Easter. There's 2 college kids and all. He called me Ma. To me, just like my own kids. They're grown up in this place.
Carmela Crusilla is the proprietor of the Randolph Restaurant, a hangout for the local youth.
It was, I don't know, good boy, real good boy. Used to come in once in a while, broke in, Ma, I don't got money. But why you worry about it? Everybody but the wife, forget about it. That's all I have to say for that boy. All Randolph, New York, we love him. That's all. So I can say. I hope the President of the United States will bring all the boys home. Because we feel bad. That's all.
Bill's sister Allen, recently married, returns to Randolph on weekends to visit his grave.
I always thought that my brother was very sensitive. And that maybe when he had killed someone, he thought he ought to pay a penalty. And that also maybe God knew that for him it was too hard to be somewhere where he was going to have to kill people and be sensitive to that. And maybe he knew he just couldn't stand it.
these men could have done. They could have solved all the problems that plague the world. I mean, they may not have, but they could have, and nobody will know now.
Missing in Randolph continues after these messages.
No one knows what these men could have done. Bill left some visible traces. One letter from a villager in India was published in the Congressional Record. It reads, "In my brief acquaintance, Bill, with his frank and engaging manner, made me give up my shyness and diffidence. He is the first American I have known. He made me realize that people are the same the world over. I greatly grieved the loss of my only American friend. Please remember that Bill was a very good and honest young man who made many friends, even in his short stay in India. All these friends, like me, grieve for his loss."
This has been a presentation of ABC News.